Casey back, I don't know, in the wintertime with a producer's class with AETN, different documentary films, and it was just really, really interesting. And she brought this idea to me, and it took me a minute to understand it. And then when I got on the website and looked at what the American Portraits with PBS is doing all over the country, it was really cool. And so this is just a fabulous opportunity. She's going to tell you all about it, not me, but I'm just giving a little plug of enthusiasm for it because I think this is a really special opportunity for life questers to know about, to encourage other people to participate in. And I'll let Casey tell us about your background too, Casey, a little bit before you get started. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. And hello, everybody. It's good to see your faces. I hope I get to meet you a little bit individually and find out a little bit about you guys as well. I've been with AETN for 30 years. So I have produced content probably in every genre. So I started helping out in our education division. I did public affairs. I produced Arkansas Week for years. That's our news and public affairs show that you might be familiar with. Steve Barnes has been the host. I'm sure he's probably been connected to LifeQuest somewhere along the line. Plus a lot of the folks that I see listed, like Jay Barth, they've been guests on the show. And so I was in public affairs for a long time. We did debates, and those are coming up again. And then I moved into sort of some health areas. I produced Aging Successfully with Dr. David, with connection with UAMS and their longevity center. We did some things on youth health. I run a student film program. So if you know any young people that like to make videos, you might want to check out our website, because there's a showcase for student videos. And I've done documentaries. I think the documentary that we presented a few weeks ago, or several weeks ago, was Historic Bridges. And I also did a project called Silent Storytellers, which was looking at the history and the preservation of cemeteries and the information that's found there. Plus how to care for the stones. And that's a very popular thing for people to do research and go in and look at cemeteries. And there's certain times of day when you can see the stones a little bit better, and things like that. We also did historic county courthouses. So did a lot of history. And I've done a music show, live music show, and a book show, and lots of stuff. As you know, AETN, we cater to a lot of interests. And I'm using AETN because that may be the more familiar name. You may have noticed that we've changed our name. So we're now going by Arkansas PBS. And the reason we did that is, I mean, it goes a little against the grain to say we've got a 50-year-old brand, but we're going to change it. But anyone new coming in that didn't already know AETN wouldn't know that that's their public television station right off the bat. Now, if they hear Arkansas PBS, they know exactly who we are and that we are your PBS affiliate. And, you know, whenever we introduced ourselves, you know, we would always say, I'm with AETN, Arkansas PBS, to make sure that people knew. Younger people growing up, you know, if I say, do you know AETN, they might look at me kind of blankly and say no. But if I say, we're the station that has Sesame Street or something like that, then they go, oh. So we were finding that we needed to introduce ourselves. And so we are Arkansas PBS. That's what's changed. We're still the station that we've always been, although we are, like every other media organization, having to redefine ourselves as technology changes. We're not just a broadcast station. We're a website and a social media organization, and that's where American Portrait comes in. And I'll kind of segue that in a minute. But we are doing all kinds of content on all sorts of platforms. You've probably heard it before, but we need to be wherever you are. So if you're on a phone, you're a young person, you're getting all of your media via your phone, then we need to be there. We can't just be a broadcast television station, which is exciting because that just brings more opportunity. It brings more people to us. And hopefully it brings younger people to us. You probably know a little bit about us. You probably hear us talking during our membership campaigns. We have a great, supportive, hugely supportive audience of people that are 50 plus. We have kids, but we lose them in the middle. So they grow up and we lose them until they get married and have kids of their own. Then we get them back with kids programs, and then eventually back over into the documentary and other, music show realm. And this is a way to maybe tap a little bit of that group that drops off for us, is by being a little bit more available to them on their devices and things like that. So we're looking at all sorts of ways to create content and provide it out there. And American Portrait is one of those initiatives. It is a national storytelling site, and it's user generated. And that's a little bit of a insider term, user generated, UGC, that's our little acronym. And that means that you create your own content and put it out there. So you've seen people doing this. That's what they do on Facebook. We want people to do that on American Portrait and around American Portrait, so that you all are part of this national storytelling experiment, basically. And I'll get a little deeper into it, and we'll look at the website and we'll talk more about it. But that's kind of my introduction. And I don't know, Gina, if I can have folks introduce themselves to me, or if I need to.
It's up to you if you want to.
I'd love to know who's here. I see your names. And I'd love to know a little bit of what your, how we caught your interest with this class.
Feel free to unmute yourselves or wave, and I'll unmute you. Or here, it'll just be easier if I call on people. I'm going to say Kathy. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and let's see. I click that. You should something little pop up, and maybe you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. I'm Kathy Hauser, and my career has been public libraries and state. I worked at the state library, so we've done some joint projects with AETN. And I was the children's consultant before I retired, so I was very interested, and we did some joint summer reading program kinds of things, and we've helped support. But in terms of this particular program, I'm also interested in storytelling.
Okay. I'm going to ask Gil if he'll unmute, if he'll share with us what brought him to this class. Go ahead, Gil.
Well, I came mainly because it's too hot to play outside, and I wanted to learn something new.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to mute you and go to Ray. Let's see, Ray, if you can unmute yourself. And
okay, I'm Ray Jones. I'm mainly here because my wife is involved in the Life Quest Tell Your Story program. So I just retired the first of the year after being 25 years with Henderson State University. So I was always interested in the stories and backgrounds of the children or the young people that I got involved with over the years.
Mm-hmm.
now, Ray, what was your job that involved you with young people? I missed that.
I was in the chemistry department.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. I'm going to see if...
I noticed that there was another storytelling, tell your own story class, and I was wondering if there was any synergy between us. So sounds like there might be.
John, I see you're here in class today. I'm going to ask if you can unmute yourself. Let's see.
Good morning. I just was curious to see what it was about. That's it.
Okay.
That's a nice little reveal that you just did. You had your phone up at the ceiling and you just slowly pan down to your face. So you're already getting some video techniques going.
All right. Thanks for coming. I'll mute you. And let's see. Judith's iPad. I'm going to ask Judith's iPad to unmute. And let's see if she sees anything. Good morning. Can you share with us what brought you here?
Good morning. I love AETN. I love especially Masterpiece. Thank you. Thank you for Masterpiece.
Thank you.
Judith, what's in your background that brought you to this class, or, you know, made you think that you might be interested in this storytelling aspect?
Background in public school and then an instructor at UCA.
Awesome.
I thought I'd had all the fun I could stand in public school, and then UCA called and said, come have some more fun up here. So I did.
Okay. I'm going to mute you now and see if Cheryl is here, and if I can ask her to unmute. She sees a button that she can unmute herself. Go ahead, Cheryl.
How's that? I have been interested in LifeQuest for years, but I was working, and when I finally retired a couple of years ago, I got involved in house projects and one thing and another, and just the time never seemed right. So now that we're all stuck at home, one of my friends clued me into the online classes. Storytelling resonates with me because I'm a frustrated writer, and back in school, when we would do our themes for the class to correct, I would fill up every blackboard available when it was my turn, telling everything I'd done all weekend. So I think this will be very interesting and enjoyable.
Sounds like a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl. All right. Diana, I'm going to mute your iPhone and see if you can share with us what brought you here this morning. Let's see. Diana, I'm going to ask your phone to unmute and see if you can press a button.
Now I'm unmuted. I came to LifeQuest about in 2014, and I've been participating ever since. And I'm interested in listening to the stories from other people. I like to listen and learn from other people's experiences. And I really don't really have a background that I was a computer programmer for 33 years, so.
That's okay. You know, I was telling Casey before we got to class a couple of days ago that, you know, it is fun to listen to other people's stories, but also people, so even if you're just here to listen, I'm sure you have a story to share. And if I forgot anybody, please feel free to unmute yourself. I think the rest of us here are staff or something of that nature, so we'll just let you continue, Casey, unless I see anybody else.
Okay. All right. Well, this is not a professional storytelling initiative at all. Like I was saying, it's user generated. And so it really is a project where we are seeing people just from all kinds of folks sharing their stories with us. And one thing that I want to say is when you say share your story, a lot of times, and my own experience is, I don't have a story. I mean, immediately I go, oh, I don't have a story, because you start thinking you have this one big story. And it's really not that. It is a thought that you're having right now about something, about where we are. And they've helped us along the way with various prompts and things like that. And, you know, one of the things too, so I gave you the user generated content, the this didn't roll off my tongue very easily. UGC is something that inside politics, in media, we're using that term. Oh, I was going to give you another little tip, and now I can't remember what that was going to be. But within PBS, what I think too is that they are trying to reach Middle America and really be the broadcast and content deliverer and creator for everyone. And we always have been, but sometimes we're, a little bit on the, we're very educational, and that kind of thing. And so I really think they're trying to just really learn about everyday folks, and also to kind of get away from the coasts, New York and San Francisco, and really talk to us, those of us that live in the middle of America. And I think this was a way to really try to engage all sorts of folks from every corner of the United States. And before we delve into the site, the other thing for me is, and why I wanted to come talk to you all, is that when you see the PBS American Portrait, when you see the American Portrait and you see a map, I want the Arkansas portrait to be just as exciting and interesting as we know we are. And so that's where you guys come in, is that I want to populate the Arkansas portion of American Portrait with stories from you, and stories from your friends, and stories from your families. And so that's just, I think it's always kind of good to say what your goal is at the beginning of something, and that's my goal. And also for you to enjoy what American Portrait is bringing to us, because it's not just something for us to participate in, but it's also, a way for us to learn. Like, was it Diana that was saying she likes to listen to other people's stories? Well, this is a whole website for you to go and just click around and listen to people's stories and see what people are thinking about. It started at the beginning of the year, and then it's had to morph. So not only does it, give you certain prompts that are kind of general to kind of kickstart your thinking, but they're also reacting to the times. So they're reacting to the fact that we, in March, our lives were all just turned upside down with a pandemic. And then they've also made sure to have opportunities when there have been protests and things like that. So they give a prompt that allows people to tell their stories around that. And then things, like 4th of July and patriotism and things like that. So there's lots of opportunities. And probably what I should do now is maybe just give you a little taste of the website and show it to you. And what I'll do is kind of try to take you through it so that when you, after the class, when you go to your computer and look up American Portrait, you've got a feel for how to navigate the site. So I will screen share and we'll see how this goes. And I'm going to play some video clips too, and you all just let us know if we're having any trouble with them. So you should see my screen. Hope that you do, and you still hear me, right?
Yes, we do. We see your PBS screen.
Now, I think this is what you're going to see. And the way I get to everything, including my own website, is I Google it. So let me know if that's not a familiar term for you, but I go to a search engine and I put in PBS American Portrait. And that's how I generally get to the site. Mine opens up like this with this big grid view, but I've had a few folks, when they go to it the first time, they get more of this page view. So I'm going to show you how to get to that page view from this page view in case this is the one that you land on. And what you're seeing here are, if you click on these are videos. You see the little video play button. This is a 30-minute program called In This Together that was developed out of the website. And there's a preview of the website. So, you know, everything we do, whether it's a website or, you know, whatever, we're going to create a video. We're going to create a video way of explaining to you what our initiative is. And we will play some of these, but I think I want you to kind of get your feet wet a little bit with the website first. So I scroll down and go to this big PBS American Portrait. And when I click there, it gets me to, everyone has a story to share, share yours. And then you've got some navigation things right up here. Episodes gives you the videos, if you want to check out the videos. A map is just that, it's a map view, and you can click on Arkansas, Texas, if you want to kind of hone down to a certain place. I go to home. And get the grid view. We call these thumbnails. And so these are the thumbnails of people that have shared their stories. And there's much more than you see here. Like if you, you scroll over, it'll give you some arrows and you can see more, or you can view all. So just know there's more. We'll do a little more of this as we go along. And along the side, my mouse doesn't like to scroll very much for some reason. You've got a couple of things going on here on the side. This first bit in quotation marks and marked featured collection, that is, there are people looking at this site all the time. PBS folks are looking at this site. And what they do is they'll determine a theme. And of course, around the 4th of July, we had a lot of posts about the 4th of July and patriotism. And so they went through and brought several of those stories up into a featured collection. So this is a featured collection, and it could be any of the prompts, but they wanted to kind of pull together, here are the things people are saying around Independence Day. So when you see the featured collection and something in these quotation marks, that's a featured collection. Everything else on the side are your prompts. So they figured what would really be helpful is to give people a starting point. And this is a pretty popular thing if you are in a school system with students, that prompts are used to kind of kickstart thinking, kickstart storytelling in this case. And so you might pick, at this point in my life, and tell a story. Family looks like, and what your family looks like to you. And on and on and on. And we're gonna go through all the prompts, and we're gonna click and check out some of these posts. But now I think what I'll do is, now that you kind of see what the site is about, we'll do more navigations up here. But I want you to just see one of the first videos. And this is what is PBS American Portrait.
PBS American Portrait is a platform where anyone can come and share their stories.
There's a whole great list of prompts to get you started.
I was raised to believe
A day's work is
I took a risk when I was 18 and joined the Marine Corps.
when I decided to accept my authentic self.
And it's been an amazing journey ever since.
This project can help bring us together.
To listen to each other, to understand what it really means to be an American.
You should be a part of PBS American Portrait
because your story is powerful.
Because it may inspire and change the life of others.
And the American story wouldn't be complete without your story. To join, go to
pbs.org/American Portrait.
Join us and be a part of history.
She's from Arkansas, the little girl in the middle. So I think one thing that you could see very clearly is that people are taking their cell phone and holding it in front of them and telling their cell phone what their message is. And so this is not, and that's, you know, that's what I mean by this being a bit of a departure for us. We've always highly produced things. We shoot it, we light it, we edit it. And this project is you, your phone, your iPad, your computer, telling a story. And you'll find a few in here where they've had someone help them hold their phone, or before the pandemic, there were a couple in here that you could tell they had a filmmaker friend that helped them out a little bit. But for the most part, it is user generated, and it's very clearly user created. I'm going to take a pause here and see if anybody has any questions or any thoughts. Is it engaging to you so far?
I think it is. I think I see interested faces. I don't see anybody who has questions, though.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
You said that some people used to use people with film experience to show their stories and stuff. Do you think some people view this as like a possible way to break into their own story, and that they're ever discovered by talent scouts or something like that? Or
it's certainly a platform. If you know what I mean, it's a platform for folks, and there's different ways that it's treated as a platform. Which some of the specials that come out of it, a lot of these posts will be pushed out via social. So like if you're an Arkansas person and you have posted, then we will put it out via social media, like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, I think are the three that we do. And there's some broadcast specials. But I do see people using it, and we can't be promotional because we're public television. But there are a few of these where, you hear a little something about their organization. We have someone in Arkansas that posted from the Arkansas Food Bank. And, she just mentions how proud she is to be part of the food bank and what they've been able to do. So there is a little bit of a promotional thing, and they can, like if you, from LifeQuest, Gina, you get out there and say, what gets me out of bed every morning is the work I do with the members of our organization. We are a lifelong learning organization called LifeQuest, and blah, 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 blah. You do your post, you put it up there, then you will have some places that you will, and I'll show y'all, where at the bottom of your post, there's information, like here's Eureka Chamber of Commerce in Eureka, California. So right there, you've got a little bit of who you are, and you've got a share button down here. And that allows you to share your story on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, via email, or copy the link. And so you don't have to wait for us to share your story. You can share it out through your social media channels. And if you're a Chamber of Commerce or LifeQuest that has a social media following, that's going to be what you want to do. And then when we share it out there, we connect, we connect you with
Gotcha.
hashtags and links and things like that.
You mentioned like specials or something. Do they ever compile these into like a half-hour special or something that gets aired up nationally?
Yeah. And that, I'm going to show you some of those in a little bit.
Okay.
And so back to kind of navigating the site. A couple of things I want to show you real quick. And then we're going to look at some folks' posts. When you do get to this grid view, you've got theme, location. And the theme, if you want to just see the ones that are under faith, you can do that, apply, and it will bring up the posts that they have tagged themselves with faith. So when this gentleman, Daryl H., and he's from Springdale, Arkansas, when he did his post, he was able to, when you're posting, you're putting it, you've got a form in front of you, and you can say, these are my themes that I'm speaking about today. And then if he's put these themes down, then you can sort by that. So if you're interested, I want to see the ones about community, you can actually go in and filter it by theme. Very handy for me is I can filter by location. So we can look at Arkansas. And it's taken a minute to populate these. Another thing you'll notice just while I'm seeing these pop up, video is encouraged, but you can also share a photograph or a series of photographs. And her theme is a day's work, and so she chose photographs that keyed in with that. And you can do text. So Sunny in North Little Rock decided not to share video, but just text. So you want to do a little preparation before you actually go in to do your post, little pre-planning, and that's partly why we can do a class that's ongoing, because I don't want to just show you the website. I want us to also kind of work on how do you tell your own story, and what method do you want to use to tell your own story, and do you want it to be a video? I think hers is pretty powerful.
My American story began with that flag sitting behind me. That flag is a representation of the ultimate sacrifice. My son Bo proudly served with the 101st Airborne out of Fort Campbell. He returned home to be discharged due to medical issues related to Operation Iraqi Freedom. But when he returned home, he said that he was going to continue to serve his veteran community, and that he did. He was raising funds for disabled veterans at the time of his death. He was unfortunately killed in a horrific accident by another disabled veteran who had been administered medications from the veteran health system that impaired his ability to function. With Bo's death came a reawakening of a need to serve America. He was no longer able to do that, but I was. So we formed Bo's Blessings, and within Bo's Blessings, we work within our community. We serve living veterans, their families. We serve needy veterans, their families. We serve those who are serving. Our mission is to make the lives of the men and women who serve this country better than it was the day before. We love our veteran community, and I proudly will do all within my power to help make their lives better. I want to be an American worth fighting for. I want to be an American worth dying for. And I want this great country to be an America worth taking care of and supporting our veterans at all costs.
You might have noticed there's captioning that is generated automatically. And so you'll see misspellings and things like that. Like I noticed when she said Bo's Blessings, instead of it being his name, Bo, it was B-O-S-E. And you'll see that from time to time because it's automatically generated. But it is helpful because, as you can imagine, when someone is doing their own audio and video, it's not always the greatest. And she has also included this, so there's a bit of a caption for her as well as her video. We also have several that were spoken word poets. Not all of my Arkansas ones are showing up. Wait a minute, maybe I have to scroll there. No? Now let's see. So people can get pretty artistic with these.
What gets me out of bed in the morning? God took me to a mountain one day. God looked me in the face and said, "Son, turn and what do you see?" And so with my eyes, I saw men with bloody hands move the memories of the poor. These terrifying individuals with bare knuckles and reddish tones unearthed the landmarks of security, ownership, and stability. I turned away and said, "God, what does this mean?" And he said, "Son, what do you see?" My eyes looked onto the rolling hills and I saw persons with great vehicles, Range Rovers, Corvettes, and Bugattis with high speed. They drove the helpless off the road of opportunity. The sick hid themselves for fear of being seen and becoming a hit and run casualty. God, what does this mean? What can be done? He said, "Son, what do you see?" And so I saw burdened backs and weeping faces. I heard wailing mothers whose faces stared deeply into the lifeless eyes of their children. I heard the echoes of "Show me your hands" and the echo of "I can't breathe." Son, what do you see? God, I see hate. I see the powerful and the austere set traps for the weak. I see hate become real as mothers weep, the sick fall, and brown skins rejoin the earth before its time. God, what will you do? God looked me in the face and said to me, "Son, what do you see?" I turned again and I saw God run into the valley. "Wait," I said. He moved like the clouds. His hands became dirty with the soil. His clothes became red. He put the poor on his shoulders, the orphan in his arms, and he kissed the widows. He ran through the fists and the screams. He took the blows of the fiends. He came before me beaten, bloody, and frayed.
I don't want to run us out of time, so I'm going to stop that one a little bit short. But don't think that there's a very broad swath in here. So just very personal stories, and then people who are more performance oriented, and just regular folks. We won't do this for very long. I want to play. Okay, you don't want to play, so we're going to go back. So from this site, what they do is they pull from all of all of the posts, and then create from this. So not only is it a website, but they'll make short videos that are compilation videos with several of the posts. And they're also doing 30-minute broadcasts. And I won't show you all of those or much of those. But they did a broadcast around In This Together, which was around the pandemic. And they did a 30-minute special. And they've got another 30-minute special about family that's coming in August. And we'll look at some of these a little bit more because I think I'm supposed to stop about 9:40-ish, and it's about 9:40-ish. Is that right?
Yeah, if you just want to go ahead and maybe give them a homework assignment or help.
I've got something. I've got something. So all of these videos are here for you guys to look at. And what I would like for you to do is between now and next week is to actually go on the website and navigate it. And I don't know whether to stop my share. I think I want to stop my share. I think I want to see you guys. I want you to just kind of peruse the site on your own and check out what's there. You can look at some of the videos if you'd like. But your homework assignment is next week to have chosen one of your favorite posts that somebody did. It could be somebody in Arkansas, or it could be someone wherever. And I want you to bring it to the next class, and we'll share it, and we'll talk about why that post resonated with you or why you liked what this person said. And we'll talk about that. The way that I think you'll need to bring this to me is, I think that if you will just make a notation about, let me go back real quick. When you find your post that you like, you can get a link to it by clicking the share and copying the link. And you can get that link to me somehow, or just make sure you have the first name and last initial, because if you can give me that, then usually we'll find it just by searching.
Would it be also helpful if they wrote the state down?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I tried to search within a state one time, and that didn't seem to do any better than just searching by the name and the last name. But it wouldn't hurt. In case the search didn't work, then we could go to that state and possibly find them. But search-wise, it didn't seem to help much.
Okay.
And what we're going to do for the next class is we're going to look at your post, but we're also going to start to talk about developing a story that you might tell, because you do want to think about it, because really, like I said, you stop yourself and think you don't have a story necessarily, but you figure out a prompt that kind of resonates with you, and then we kind of build out from there and kind of see, what would you say if you were on American Portrait site? What would you say? And it's possible that I'll have a special guest with me next week that actually does storytelling workshops. And maybe we'll learn a few tips about how to do that, how to develop your story, even though these are extremely short. The videos, you might have noticed, they're generally under 2 minutes. When you go to put into the site, they say that it's a 1 minute limit, but I've noticed it doesn't cut you off if it's under 2 minutes. So you probably have 2 minutes to play with, but you're still telling a story, and we can still put storytelling techniques to this. And you may end up being someone that would rather write a story that gets up there by text, or you want to put a photograph and a written story. So we'll just kind of work together on what our stories might be. And I need this too, because I haven't put a story out there. So maybe you'll help me learn what my story is going to be. And then we'll also talk a little bit about some tips and techniques on how to do it, on how to create your story. And if you're thinking, I'm not sure I want to do that, you might think about someone in your family that you would like to have do that. You know, would you like to turn your camera onto your significant other or a grandchild, being safe at all times, and get them to tell a story? So there's different ways we can come at this, but it'll be a fun experiment to kind of see what we do. We'll make it fun. And we'll learn some stuff. So I'm sorry today was mostly orientation, but that website has got a lot going on. And we didn't even, we didn't get to all of it. We didn't see, some of the videos and stuff. But look at it yourselves and come next week with a post or two that you think is your favorite, and maybe also come with what prompt you think might be the one that resonates with you. And remember, when you're in that grid view, your prompts are all down the left side. And so you just scroll down and look at those prompts there, unless it's marked featured collection with a big yellow bar. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes. Thank you so much, Casey, for coming today and sharing this with us. We had a couple of people who came in late, so I just want to say again that if they do a Google search for PBS American Portrait, they can explore the website and see what the class is about, and come next week with their favorite story. Just maybe write down who said the story. And we look forward to hearing more from you and maybe a special guest or two. And we look forward to seeing you all again next weekend in our other classes.
And invite folks if you want. I think we can, starting next week wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, because I figure this might have been a little bit of, what's this all about?
Right. This is the first week of class, and we've got 3 more to go. These are free, open to the public. Share them across the United States. Share them in other countries. Well, it's American Portrait. Share them within the United States, unless you know someone living overseas who's an American citizen. But, it's a great opportunity, and it seems like a fun activity for the summer. Get you out of the quarantine state of mind. So that's a good thing.
And I don't know, Gina, how you go about it, but if anyone has any questions in between classes or any comments, I'm happy.
Yeah. If you have any questions or anything, you can email info@lifequestofarkansas.org and just say who your question is for, and we'll get it to Casey and let her answer your question. We'll send her your email address to her. So I thank you all for coming, and next class at 10 o'clock is Techniques in Art with Sandra Cohn. So if you want to hop over there, something else to do this morning. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.